to our first best of one. Let's go ahead and bring him in now. There they are, boom.
Hey, guys.
Hey, we got a little Scrawny, got a little Pansy. What's going on?
Not
Not
much.
much.
Yeah.
Enthusiastic this morning.
Well, you know, you've kind of summed it up pretty well on the desk there. You've given no hope, no odds, Chad. I don't know what we're meant to say.
It's our job to be realist, and it's your job to tell the story and build the hype.
Thank you, Chad. I wasn't
Well,
sure. You
yeah.
onto that.
I'm definitely. And I mean, I think if anybody here is familiar with Rise Nation, it would be me. I do cast them in the ESEA Mountain Dew League. I kind of watched some of their qualifiers, notably, again, that Open NA that they were able to get them their way through. But like Pimp was saying, right, they had an easier job. Teams like NRG, Misfits, the guys that tend to come into the DreamHack ASTRO events, the guys that have this tenure and experience, they're not here because they were occupied at that time. So Rise Nation, best of luck. But in reality, I think they're going to need a good stroke of that.
So what you're saying is that's just the way it is, right, Scrawny? I tell you what,
Simply is that. Yeah.
let's just take it away from here and just see how this one comes out.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it does seem as though that will be the way it will be throughout the day. A couple of one-sided matchups to begin with, but then it seems to kind of even out. But this tends to happen. But give us some background about Rise Nation, because I think some people might know Ace, you know, a couple of people might know some of these guys, but they're not exactly the headliners that you'll instantly go, all right, this is the team. So give us a little bit of insight.
Yeah, so Rise Nation is definitely a team that, like, in these most recent months has been at least putting up more of a performance within NA. But again, that's all their experience resides within. It's in North America, and not even at a Pro League level. They do have a best of 3 relegation game, or rather a BO3 for versus Soar Gaming for a Pro League spot coming up after this. So they definitely have their eyes set on maybe more tangible targets, not necessarily a performance here. When you look at the lineup themselves, you've got VSA, who's going to be calling their in-game leader this event. We have Ace, obviously the Opper, I think one of the stars of the team. He very well can be that kind of standout player if he has to go off. And then you have Moose, who is a much more dedicated hard lurk. So I'm actually curious to see how maybe a Moose versus Doja situation could unfold in this game. I'm very excited to watch Mo versus Ace as well when it comes to op dueling. And then, of course, you have the roster rounded out with Jonji and Dazzle, who I do think are those kinds of just like highlight riflers. Very good aim. But when it comes to like more of a team-based conversation, right? When we discuss like the cohesion within the players, I don't think they're going to have it in comparison to a team like Gambit. I mean, even stretching the aim really is hard to do when in reality we have Gambit on the other side. Even if Rise Nation were playing, say, maybe Heroic in their opening game or something along those lines, we'd maybe be able to bolster their confidence a little more, but it's Gambit. And that is a very scary idea.
Yeah, I'm not seeing too much hope out of it, but again, Rise Nation, any step is a good one for them as well. You know, this is the sort of thing you can hope for. We are into this, so Rise Nation starting out on the CT side, Gambit on the T side, and I wonder, the mentality from Gambit's going to be interesting for me as well, because they've got to be playing like their standard game, right? They're not going to come in and bring out everything. They're just going to play it out normally. I'm wondering if there's going to be a bit of, you know, maybe a bit of something between that. I don't know, but right now, Rise Nation preparing themselves for the hit. Lots of players towards A, at least that's a bonus. Ace is going to be into a bit of a rough start if he doesn't land it, but he does. Great stuff from Ace, good beginning, backs away, and he's kept this together.
Yeah, Moose is still the insurance policy backed by those boxes as well, so Ace is going to try to throw himself into the situation, make something happen, but it will fall onto Moose, who gets the job done, but a little delay allows Adren to trade straight back, and now Jonji has to clutch. So Pistol starts off well, and it is going to come down to this. Bomb planted, both T's on site, and one of them has been dealt with. It is just Hobbit. And it is just Hobbit. Hits the headshot right away, and Gambit find their pistol.
There were some real chances there, though. You saw for Rise Nation coming through a couple of moments, a couple of missed shots. It did seem as though Ace started off well, though. He had a really nice beginning to that. You can see he does have a bit of aim to the guy, but not much more you can do when you get a couple of players like Adren really want to turn it around, and these shots towards CT certainly alleviated that pressure. So again, not a bad start for Rise Nation. You shake off those nerves, really.
Yeah, one of those situations where I think Moose could have definitely come up with a little bit more. If he had the element of surprise for even a second longer, then maybe he finds Adren on top of Palace, but a missed opportunity now comes into a farming of money by Gambit, or so it should be. The 4 Mac 10s over towards this B bomb site, 3 of which now still stand. And Fitch, he's trying to clear out the bomb site, but Dazzle puts up a bit more of a fight than maybe he expected. It's traded straight back, and now that's the bomb site in the hands of Gambit. So CT side, gonna try and split, maybe find some exits, and Hobbit actually also dies in this situation. So a very costly round, considering Gambit had really everything to win.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised that but I think they're just going to play that mentality of like the BM style, right? You just kind of keep going until it, you have to stop. And Adren's still got the rifle. He's got 3 kills. He's perfectly fine. Moose, he's playing through apps. He might be able to get something done, jumping out, maybe take down Adren, but at the end of the day, I don't see much more coming from this, and Adren can just back away. He wants to keep the armor, wants to keep the rifle, doesn't want to give that away particularly, but he knows that he's got to stay close by-ish, and nice work from Moose here. Really, this is very costly now for Gambit. This is a bit of an issue.
This is a wild situation where both of these rounds, although this one was always in the hands of Gambit after the plants come through, this is a 1v1 yet again. So Rise Nation at least putting up some frags early on. But of course, Gambit just going to start getting themselves through the movements. And I do think that going back to your point of BM, that's something that Rise Nation were expecting coming into this matchup. I think that they're confident in accepting the fact that Gambit are looking to just stampede straight through them. Yep. And so they're actually prepared for that kind of a mentality, that kind of an opponent. Whether or not they can do anything about it will be the question that's yet to be answered, but Gambit will have another chance to make back some of that cash. 3-Mac-10 still in play, and not a lot of utility for those players. So I'm actually assuming that Hobbit and Fitch are going to get very aggressive, even in the after fact. Maybe go looking for that hunt in order to regain their money.
Yeah, Rise going for the A stack. Sadly, not quite where Gambit were heading. Fitch there does make his way around. You predicted it, and obviously too much of a surprise that's coming true. Hobbit going to be doing the work as well towards CT, and Doshi's got the Mac-10 as well. So all these 3 can be the ones to get out there and do some work, and they're doing just that. No armor really on Rise Nation apart from Moose. He's got a little something with that CZ, but that's about it. And Mo, you don't want to lose that AK though. That's one of the ones you want to keep hold of. So be a little cautious, a little careful. Dazzle, good work towards Fitch, and that's kind of put Mo on the back foot there. He's going to back off that one.
Of course, Doja could easily clear them up, and he will start to do so. Dazzle down, Moose trying to hide in the corner. So close, and in fact, he will get himself with a Mac-10 into the next round. A little bit of Kevlar saved. Decides not to keep his SMG. Screw it. It is the gun round. It is the buy round from Rise Nation. And now this is, to me, where we kind of maybe get a bit more of a sense as to what's to come. I'm assuming Gambit are not going to get off the pedal whatsoever. We saw 2 very fast rounds in those anti-ecos, justifiably so. And here's something that I want to watch unfold right away. It's going to be Ace on that AWP. Now, when it comes to Ace in particular, I do find he has that extra layer of like a flashy op. He's got really good movement. He's very good at gaining information when executions come forward from a team like Gambit. But he's now not going to head. Fitch is just very quick on that entry from Palace, catches him next to the ticket booth, and the A-site does fall very quickly. With the Molotovs keeping Moose out of the gunfight, he can't stop this. And so it's an after plant straight away, and Hobbit's already found a frag towards spawn.
Moose, what more can you do here? Still got utility. He's trying to back away more than anything. I don't think anyone's going to chase that far. I don't know, Gambit. I guess if you're going to be aggressive, you're going to go all out, right? But Mo's going looking, going to get the AWP up. That's nice little free pick up there for him. And Dazzle. Does Mo know this? Did he see Dazzle then? I'm not sure. Oh, he definitely saw enough of him. Mo there, perpetually aware, and the last man standing, obviously for Rise Nation, is Moose carrying away. Not much more to be done for him. And 4 alive this time for Gambit, far cleaner. And even though they have been having these kind of close rounds to a degree, they're having getting plants, and it's rounds on the board.
Yep. Unfortunately for Ace, they're playing on ticket booth and towards the end, Adren denies that M4 moving forward. So Rise Nation completely bottomed out in that one. And poor Ace, I mean, he's playing ticket booth, but his teammate's underneath the balcony. So in that fact, it's up to Ace to keep his eyes towards ramp and then also have to be wary of that very fast Palace peek. And it is exactly that which catches him off guard. So it's not as though he had a second set of eyes to really hold back Gambit. And again, Gambit just looking for those openings, looking to play quickly, very easily dispatched the A-site defense, which again, they should do here versus just the pistols of Rise Nation. They try to invest into the CZs and Kevlar, and unlike the second round, they, wait, hold on.
Okay.
Do still get 2 kills.
It always seems to just randomly happen.
Yeah.
They've got some damage, they've got some firepower. I don't think anyone's going to, doubt them individually. They're certainly a decent enough team. But overall, it always just feels like Gambit's there that one step away every single time. It's like, well, okay, we lose 2 players, but, there's still the rest of us who can pick it up. We're fine. We're still getting bomb plants, still have good money. We'll continue on. Well, at least we get to see the buy coming back out. Still a Mac-10 on Hobbit. And the big game changer is Ace. Can he maybe get into this one? But it looks like a pretty concise B hit here. Pretty much all there, unless they maybe split through underpass. But Attention will be drawn that way. Who else is going to be on short? The flash comes in. Jonji now needs to respond accordingly. Don't think he's seen anyone just yet. I think he just mixed them as the smoke plumed, but you're going to have a good idea players are here now.
Yeah, especially with Moose spamming that wooden panel, right? So they know somebody's pushed up towards Catwalk that generally would tend to leave someone dedicated back. And there's an opening. Ace actually gets aggressive towards Underpass. They're feeling out that maybe there's a B hit because they don't see what was the last gun round, Fast A. Because of that, we actually watch Rise Nation take a bit of an aggression. They get ambitious themselves, not letting Gambit set up, not letting them feel comfortable, and it's now netted Rise Nation this 5 versus 4. And in response to that, Gambit realized they have to go clear out mid. They have to ensure that Ace has fallen back, and that's why they've left the bomb in apps. So map control belongs to Gambit for the time being, and still we're watching Rise Nation get curious across the board.
Well, you're not going to be asking questions, aren't you? You're kind of wondering where the real hit is. You've heard noise across the board. You're hearing steps towards ladder now. Dazzle, clearly aware there's a possibility someone's very close by, and there is. It's Mo, but he's looking towards B, and 2 players there posted up already. Mo's going to be peeking into it, and Jonji does deliver. That's perfect for him. And now Gambit actually struggling to make this hit count, even with all that map control.
It is just down to the 2 versus 4. Moose drops the bomb in the open. We're near that 20-second mark, so while Hobbit's gotten himself 2 frags to work with, it's really time that's going to become the issue, and Ace then cleans things up. Very well done there by Hobbit to at least deal some economic impact versus Rise Nation. Had they gotten forward with 4 players up, then that's a fantastic round. They will still struggle to rebuy, but at least I did see a little breath of life from Rise Nation. They didn't play scared like maybe a 5-0 start can get you into, right? Ace does get curious towards Underpass. Mind you, he finds Doja inspecting his AK, so maybe not prepared for that kind of a gunfight. And yet Ace certainly was.
Yeah, double AWP coming in. Moose and Ace there, so looking forward to see if that works out for them. The A hit seemingly going to come through, but there is a little bit of a play towards middle from Gambit. 1 player slowly lurking at the top. Nothing too much to report here. Now, last time we saw them doing pretty well here, Gambit was pretty scrappy coming through on this, but every single round that they kind of went for it did obviously work out for them. Look at the scoreboard. But now we'll see if they can do this on the full buy against a relatively decent buy as well. Double stack towards Dark. That's a really strange hold. This Molotov could be really rather problematic. 1 player now will be fine. I wonder if they're going to actually expect a second. The spray's good from Dazzle. Perfect work from him. USP comes out, desperate for 1 more shot to work, and it just doesn't come through. It's a 2v3, but it's favorable to Rise Nation.
And the fact that VSA's still underneath that palace, he hasn't been spotted. So now when the smoke fades, he catches the first and second. Rise Nation straight back with what was an awkward situation there, I think, leads to the win.
Yeah.
You see Gambit just kind of pump the brakes despite Dazzle finding impact with that 2.5 frags, and then they clear up the staircase. So if this was not VSA under Palace, I think Rise Nation are in a really tough spot. And because of that, they still get themselves a situation where they have actually found another round. So dodging that economic reset, dodging what would have been an atrocious situation, we've got Rise Nation coming in with a bit more footing here. And with Ace currently inside of Connector looking for an opening peak, he does miss the shot, which could be crucial, but at least it's a situation where they haven't lost a man themselves. Rise Nation just going to sit back for now. Gambit, having established themselves towards the top of mid as opposed to through Underpass, now getting it right away. It's wild to think, actually, that Gambit are struggling economically. We've got just that Deagle for Fitch. With an AWP on Mo, he himself could find an opening. But right now it's Ace who has shuffled his way off of Connector. That smoke, he's got a little bit more safety to try and play off of, but Fitch has gotten himself into the ladder room. So yet again, Catwalk control belongs to Gambit, and the second mic now belongs to Sponge.
G'day, Matt. It's good to be here. More rounds than I thought they'd get, but we're going to jump in the chair, and I'm going to let you carry the play-by-play, and I'll just do a little bit of tiny...
Some input.
Yeah, I guess I'll just chip in every now and again.
Sounds good to me. That's what we brought you in for, right? Knowledge.
Well, hey, I've lied my way this far, so we're looking pretty nice.
Let's see, as A site is now seriously in question. They'll thoroughly clear out the corners, knowing, of course, that it was the reason they lost the last round. If Ace could hit this flick, that'd be fantastic, but Doja pops him. And VSA, then able to trade, leaves this into the 4 versus 4. Up close, he finds another. And VSA on bomb sites has been impactful, but Jonji's creep through Connector never comes through. Hobbit, and Co still positioned there towards Cat. And with a smoke grenade trying to block off Mo, he then gets aggressive. So CT's pinched on the bomb site, unless Moose towards windowsill can really crack mid wide open. But it's VSA that cracks it open because now the after plant's over here towards Cat. Moose doesn't expect 2 players to be here, so he too toppled. And while Dazzle taps the bomb, that's going to force the hands of Gambit. They come charging in, and as he takes one, he then falls. It is Gambit to win another round.
Yeah, big round by Hobbit there. That's the kind of post-plant scenarios that you want to be winning, right? His position there was vital. 4 big frags and closing that one out. Yeah, there's little subtleties there. I don't know if people noticed. The AWPer and CT spawn, you know, playing quite passive. The double peek from Dozier, from Palace, and they had the other player at the bomb box. These are the little things that separate a team like Gambit from a team like Rise Nation. And look at that. The economy is already in tatters. Rise were able to get 2, but now they're back on struggle street.
Ace and a scout can be dangerous. Again, one of those players that has high movement. And I think if you're using your movement in tandem with a scout, then you are that next layer of dangerous. But for now he is fall off.
Can't jump with it anymore, right?
Yeah.
I used to love a bit of that action back in the day, but this is the thing, right? It's going to get real scrappy for Rise. Here's where the economy is just going to spiral out of control and the game could just run away from them. The fact that they're contesting here, I can respect this because you don't want to let Gambit just walk all over you. That high pace that they were using early, if you can stop it, if you can get a big win on the round here, you can basically, you know, stop them from building up that huge economy, which we saw was effective early on.
Ooh, not checking corners. Moose will make the most of it. Ace has gotten himself one as well, so that's 3 frags back for Rise Nation. But now the B site starts to be in question. But the bomb as well, still towards Cat. That could be a problem. It's also a problem that Doja's 1v3. Somehow, Rise Nation, they've gotten themselves into this round, and VSA as well, with a 2K on his scout, finding impact, and that's an excellent open door for Rise Nation.
Yeah, bringing a smile to their face as well. That's what you need, these kind of victories. Show that you can brawl, show that you can frag. Sure, they got a couple of lucky ones where the Gambit guys weren't looking in the right way. This one right here on Fitch. Awkward angle to check, right? And they obviously had quite a few numbers towards that B site, 3 players to be exact. It's once you call them out, you're not, you know, you get a little bit complacent. And right now we are going to see the eco coming out from Gambit, but 2 Deagles in hand, 1 in Hobbit, 1 in Dren's hands, and these boys can be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, if you're not going to sleep on the double scout setup of Rise Nation, then don't sleep on the Deagles of Gambit. Curious enough, though, that Rise Nation have now put themselves into a position to mow down that lead to only 2 rounds.
Well, these are the hardest ones to win, right, mate? Yeah. This is Counter-Strike. This is the biggest problem that a lot of teams have, is just closing out these anti-eco scenarios. Sure, it's not super dangerous. It's only 2 Deagles. But when one player falls, you know, the dominoes just continue to do so. And Fitch is going to find ground. Take down Ace there. And they do have window room and jungle control, which is a second frag. Dozier with the scout headshot. It's falling apart quickly.
Now, at least Dazzle then brings it in with a 2K of his own. They've done a good job of getting at least jungle and a gun. Where do they go from here? They've been boxed in, but they've effectively distracted the CTs because bomb's actually on the B site. So despite the kills, despite the opportunity now being swept away, Hobbit opts not to plant, and instead he wants a fight, so not even money.
Yeah, he might regret that decision. Hey, he could have just got the bomb down there, giving his team a little bit of extra cash. But I think maybe what was going through his head was it was still a 3-on-3 scenario at that point in time. And if he could equal up the frag count, maybe the other boys could have got through the vent room, got to be with him, given themselves a better after-plant scenario. It's not, you know, they're on the T side. There's nothing really to worry about for Gambit early. 6 rounds on the board. You're looking happy, you're looking pretty, and we go into a gun round. Unfortunately, with no utility and 2 Galils. So it looks like it's going to be a contact play towards the A bomb site here. 2 Palace. Looks like we're going to have 3 going towards A ramp. The limited utility, I suppose, would be used. Either they're going to set up the wall smoke, but hey, he's trying to find the frag. Going to go down to Hobbit, who's getting 2. And that should be the A-bomb site cracked wide open.
Unless, of course, VSA can find anything else, but he's already allowed Fitch to cross, and now he's smoked off. So what was a difficult job is now that much more impossible. Fitch with this forward positioning towards the site should be able to ensure this bomb plant, unless John G gets the spam through it, but instead he jumps up right into the crosshair of Fitch, who hits his head, and through the smoke the shots fly. More damage dealt, in fact, and Rise Nation maybe taking a bit of a stumble. Nice wall bang through Ticket Booth, though. Moose, knowing his angles, finds Fitch. 2 versus 3, but they're being boxed in. In fact, Hobbit's on the opposite side of the map, yet again coming in through the back of Market, behind the rotation of Rise Nation, who still contemplate this retake. Unfortunately, Times, that's their 4th opponent. Hobbit's flank spotted, traded out by Moose, so maybe they move that 1 gun forward. But even though Gambit don't have much utility in this round, they're still afforded that setup. The fact that Rise Nation tried to obscure it with that 2-man push through ramp just to lose, that's, you know, forward positioning.
In these kind of situations, right, obviously they may have been expecting a half buy coming out from the guys at Gambit because their economy wasn't fantastic, right? We saw no utility. Maybe they wanted to catch them off guard before they could set up for a full-on A execute with all the go gear, but wasn't to be. And we just need to know, Hobbit found those 2 opening frags. The guy's on 18 kills right now. The next closest on his team is a Dren with 8. He is just absolutely beasting it up, and probably a good time to take that pause for Rise, just to slow it down a little bit. They're not out of this by any means, by any way, shape, or form. 4 rounds on the board. It's not great, but if they can, what's their economy looking like? It's not great. They're going to probably have to take either an eco or force behind. Jonji has a bit of money. Dazzle has a little bit of money. They can either get a mix buy going, which they've already seen a little bit of success on, or they can take an econ play. There you go. So they've taken a bit of a mix buy. Those CZs, they paid off for them earlier, but it looks like it's going to be a good play towards B for the guys from Gambit. Destruction in the middle from a Dren.
Something they've been doing really well is actually just changing up the bomb sites that they've been hitting. So even, a little discomfort from kills, but also keeping them guessing. Jonji good for 1, then immediately traded back while a Dren locks down mid on the 3K. So he just clotheslines any kind of a rotation there from Rise Nation and leaves poor Dazzle 1 versus 4. Trying to chase a Dren who is now elsewhere. He's gotten his way through apartments towards the bomb site where Gambit still stand. Now, again, I feel like not only are you going to be uncomfortable if you're Rise Nation just based on the fact that you are playing versus the current major champions, but again with Gambit not really giving much of a read to Rise Nation. We've seen them alternate between that A and B bomb site quite regularly on both gun rounds and their ecos. So I feel like if I'm on Rise Nation, I'm still asking questions as to what exactly they're up to.
Well, the big question mark here is like Gambit played a very similar T-Star when they took on FaZe at Oakland, and they won that match 16-3. It was just very fast-paced early. They were splitting the bomb sites very confident, and that's something which I think people might sleep on a bit with Gambit is the individuals who are quite skilled. They're doing the same thing here and still being relatively disciplined, right? They don't need to the same regard. You're not just going to have Nico or Rain popping your head off with a deagle, but they're still giving them, the fact that, hey, this is a match, this is the opening game of the day, and they do want to win it. It's a great time to also stat those pad those stats. Let's get it the right way. Let's get it the right way around.
Dazzle yet again from Connector trying to find anything to slow down Gambit. They've been going for early mid control now multiple rounds as well, and we haven't seen much of a response yet from Rise Nation, but they will try to boost Moose up. On top of the bricks he resides, gives him a bit of an angle and could catch a man off guard. Also very good opportunity to then fall back towards that B site where no one's really going to be able to chase him. Sure enough, Hobbit's up close, but Moose with a missed opportunity. That could have been a 5v4. Now it's Hobbit who does find him mid-rotation. So sure enough, he was there in a good position to respond, but Ace will respond himself. With the teammate's flash, he charges straight through the smoke, gets a Dren who is trying to set up for that A site, and that could actually indicate this setup from Gambit.
Yeah, look at this though. They've kind of forced a lot of rotations going on from the Rise Nation guys, and the A defense is pretty strung out. We've got VSA stuck here under the balcony. He's gonna go another whiff. That's 2 big whiffs from the guys from Rise in this round, and those are the frags you need to make.
Certainly. Sure enough, Ace trying to just slow them back. Was giving time for Dazzle to get towards Ticket, but the moment he arrives, he is down for the count, and that's the majority of Rise Nation as well. Jonji, at a distance, loses the duel versus Mo, and that's Gambit now towards 9. Now, opening game of the event, Rise Nation, sure enough, comes swinging out in the 6th round where they're finally able to get one to the board. But as you said, I feel like, it's not Gambit now throwing everything to the win. They still recognize that they have offered up an opening to Rise Nation, and it's just at this point that they're going to lock it down.
Well, this map you can play with such a high tempo, right? Because when you're on the CTs and you're on the back foot, you have to take gambles in the decision-making. Are you going to go for mid control? Are you going to go for that A ramp push we saw? You don't want to get dictated to. Do you do the retake? None of those situations have panned out for them so far. The only time we saw them have much success was when they were able to have that mixed buy, and they had those 2 gun rounds which people had multi-frags in. But Hobbit, he's just everywhere, and he's hunting for more frags. If VSA is going to go down, and he knows Dazzle's there, he's going to hit the deck too, and A bomb site is open for business. The last 2 players for Rise, USP and a P250.
Yep.
My eyesight's getting terrible, man. My eyesight is slowly dwindling away here. But look, you've watched a lot more Rise Nation than I have. What is what is the highlight of these guys when they play? Is it individuals? Is it, they have good strategies, good teamwork? What are we looking at here? Because they're obviously a very young team. I think the oldest guy's 23.
Yeah, exactly. 23, I believe there's a 22-year-old and two 18-year-olds. But if there's one thing that I think Rise Nation can do, at least versus the caliber of teams that they're accustomed to, it is create openings on rounds like this where they don't have much to play with.
Sure.
Of all the teams that generally will punish mistakes and minimize mistakes of their own, again, at their caliber, it's going to be guys like Rise Nation. Like I feel like it was during this most recent summer where a lot of teams took time off in North America, and Rise Nation didn't. The top tier or the lower kind of echelon of Pro League were just enjoying their summer while Rise Nation was putting in work.
Yep.
And I think it was during that time that we really saw them close the gap, or at least make some murmurs. A couple LAN performances that didn't really go their way.
I think something to note, right, is especially if you haven't played a lot of LANs and you haven't played a lot of LANs at this kind of caliber, the learning curve is so steep, right? Even if you're able to string a couple of rounds together, the adjustments are going to come out from the Gambit guys, and you know, fool me once, you know, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen when you play against these kind of guys. It's a constant game. It's always evolving. And that's something which you don't get, first of all, in North American Counter-Strike Online. And second of all, it's not something that you can just learn like just by watching demos. It's something you have to experience. So this is kind of trial by fire for these guys. As Gambit, they've left the bomb, but they're making their way towards the A bomb side at least, and it's completely open right now. No one's minding it at all. No one's on site. We don't even have anyone ticketed right now. I think it is Dazzle who's rotating over.
He's gonna get himself closer to this site. If there's anything else that I think Rise Nation can tend to do successfully, it's use Ace on that op. We saw some really good movement there towards mid to find the pick, and now Dazzle's going to get that man advantage back, seeing as they had lost it for a moment. But knowing that a man was still in connector, Doja gets it done. Adren then finding Ace inside of mid, and we've got Gambit back in control of the situation. They've got their bomb coming over towards ramp, and it's really going to be Dazzle to try and lock this down. And that's if, of course, Gambit decide not to change their course. They spot him on the cross, deal with him efficiently, and now it's just up to Adren to win this duel on Cat. Poor old Jonji 1v3 will find a bit of an opening. And you know what? It's the 15th round, so he's got to go for it. Does he step up to the plate? He tries to, and Doja knocks him back one. So 11-4 to Gambit on the T side of Mirage. I would say, as expected.
Yeah, you can tell me how. We don't go to an ad break here, do we?
Nope.
Okay,
nope.
we just chill. We just chill. Yeah. Look, I'm getting thrust into this, man. You know, commentary's not my forte. Anyway, I think 4 rounds. I wouldn't be happy with 4 rounds by any way. But I think it's hard to look at positives.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's definitely difficult to look at positives. I think a positive is Gambit. They've got Hobbit playing well, and that's one of the things that they're going to need as they go deeper in this tournament. They could potentially be going up. I don't want to say this one's over. Hang around, guys. Listen to my voice. But if they get to play against Na'Vi in the next round, that's the match of the day, right? That's the grudge match. We got the Zeus leaving the team. We got the Gambit guys maybe a little bit jaded that he left them high and dry, or maybe Gambit guys want to prove that they're better than Na'Vi, who's been struggling in recent times, and vice versa. So Hobbit playing well sets it up nicely. But for the match right now, I guess just as many rounds as you can get for Rise is a bonus.
I think this situation as well is that losing to Gambit could then lead to Rise Nation playing versus Heroic, depending on how Heroic versus Na'Vi goes. And I think that there will be more of a chance for Rise Nation to at least give us something to talk about, or maybe even, who knows, a win. But Gambit's a whole other beast, and we know, of course, that Hobbit at any given moment can carry games, and this is going to be one of them.
A lot of utility being used right now. Dren's going to push up mid. He's going to find or see 3 players. He's going to take 1, 2, and he's almost going to get the 3rd as Ace is going to take him down. And that's a lot of utility just dropped out from Rise Nation as they are trying to go for an ace split here. The attack is on, and Dozier trying to defend on his own. 3 on 3.
Gets the reload. Of course, Rise Nation, they get their bomb site now. VSA swaps the dualies out for a USP. Will reposition. Or at least Jonji does towards Palace. Fitch is going to get closer towards Connector. And again, HP not great here for any of these 4 remaining players, and it's up to Gambit to try and close this gap. Now, VSA is patiently waiting for the peak, but he gets distracted at the... Oh, and still wins it. Flicks straight back to Hobbit, takes him down. Fitch is able to trade with a headshot, and this is Jonji now 1 versus 1. Of course, the bomb's tapped, trying to bait the peak, and he's dangerously close to the corner, but Fitch has to get back on bomb. No kit, 10-second defuse, and he loses the duel. So Rise Nation with an opportunity now to convert that pistol into a few opening rounds.
Yeah, VSA should have never made that frag there, right? Like it kind of just pulled it out of his back pocket. But I think what we've got going on here is a chance for them, like you said, to string some rounds together, get everything going for the boys. But we will see the Force coming out from Gambit. And no, it isn't a Force. What am I? I'm blind. I'm telling you, my eyesight. Anyway, they've got the Scout up on Mo, a Deagle on a Dren, Dozier with a bit of an upgrade there. Fitch, he's just stuck to the USP. So I don't know if that means he's going to... Maybe he dropped the Scout across to Mo. We'll see.
Of course, Fitch himself is the man tasked with the B-hold. Solo B-hold on no upgraded pistol whatsoever. And it's there, in fact, that Rise Nation show their early hand. At least getting curious. Now, like you said, these can be the rounds that are hard to win. So Rise Nation getting past this scout and taking a little bit of damage creates an opening. Jonji, he contemplates the window. They actually fall back, so that just gives more of a chance for Mo to deal damage, not only tagging Dazzle once, but hitting Jonji twice and finding that opening frag.
I have a real big problem here with the way that Rise wanted to approach this. It just wanted to be like a contact B play. Obviously, when the jump spot came in from Fitch, they changed their mind in the situation. The problem is, if you're going to almost go for an all-in and have no map territory that early, you want to just get stuck in unless it's a full-on stack. Right here, they get caught in limbo. Sure, now they've traded out with the Dren's aggression, but Fitch is going to find one with a USP. This should never be happening.
Ace going to try to cover Ticket, does actually find that headshot, but Hobbit from the corner goes unchecked. He drops the bomb, and up close, Moose then trades. And it's Doja then to find a headshot. 1 versus 1 yet again, with Fitch on a MAC-10 coming in from mid, as Ace should find this plant. He's going to ensure his safety, at least try to with the smoke. And that gives a little bit more time for Fitch to close the gap, but now he's spotted. And Ace just plays patient.
Oh, wait, did he not think he could be spotted?
That was wild. Still able to clean it up, but very dangerous round. As you said, losing that map control towards the A site then put them in a pretty disadvantageous situation pushing towards the site.
There's a few ways you can play the... Well, actually, there's a plethora of ways you can play anti-eco scenarios, but you just want to be confident in whatever you're going to do, right? And the fact of the matter is, sure, I can understand not wanting to do a rush, because you don't want to just run into the Deagles of Gambit. You don't know if they're going to force buy. They're lucky, really, in that scenario. Even there, with Ace walking on the cusp of the box and the smoke, he could have just had his head taken off, because Fitch could definitely see him from Connector. This is more like it, though. See, they're going as a unit, they're getting mid-control, they're backing their aim, flashes are coming in, but they have each other covered, and they're just going to mow down this Gambit little attack in middle, and hopefully Dazzle can farm up a bit with that MAC-10.
I think this speaks leaps and bounds to kind of, you know, what you were just saying about confidence, right? Like, this round where they know there's no buy from Gambit, or at least they can safely assume so, well, they take that proper mid-control. They get out there early, and they really do try to assert themselves, but when even the most minimal of threats were being predicted from Gambit in the form of just pistol Kevlar, look how patiently they played. Look how reserved they did and how it nearly came back to bite them. So I'm interested to see if they keep up that fast pace, but if they do so, they could be walking into the double op setup here of Gambit. Lots of opportunity for them to crack this open with a man advantage.
Interesting that this is what they've opted for early, right? It doesn't seem like... Normally it's an adjustment, but the fact is maybe they want to be a little bit more aggressive with those AWPs. They've got... Dozier up close towards Palace, towards A's, and it is going to be a B here, right? So they have a lot of early information. If Dozier pushes, they can find out very quickly. But they're just going to have to get a lot done here with the FAMAS. It's not the ideal weapon for this situation.
Here's a nice off angle though. Could definitely maybe catch one and even fall back. Rise Nation at least not losing too much footing based on the pushes of Gambit. It's actually Hobbit to miss the first shot as the smokes rain in. Does find Dazzle as this angle's not covered, and Fitch finding kills as Hobbit continues on. Will leave Rise Nation.
Yeah, he's feeling it.
Oh my goodness. Hobbit with a flick. And unfortunately for Jonji, he doesn't have his bomb, so he walks right into Hobbit. 4 frags for him. Again, no smoke on that second side of the arch allows for 2 players to drop on the cross.
Yeah.
The whip around is icing on the cake. And then why not just seal the deal?
That must have been a misplay in the execute. There must have been a hole in the execute there, surely, right? Because it doesn't make much sense that smoke isn't there. That's normally the wall, but Hobbit probably would have still been able to just over the top of that smoke. Shouldn't have been able to get away with that, though. Bit of a blunder there, but I like the first gun round play. I like the fact they've gone for a full execute. They've taken advantage of you know, knowing that Gambit might not have had full utility. Didn't work though, did it?
No, it did not, but they'll still try their hands at executions, this time towards the A site, or so they set up for. And Adren's getting curious now. He could easily shut this down if he can spot some kneecaps. Fortunately, he sees nobody, despite there being 4 players on the other side and 1 inside of Palace, but there's a man in Palace themselves from Gambit.
Yeah, look at all the information they have. We've got Fitch once again up in B apps. We've got Mo with all the mid information, and they have 3 players close up, or at least towards the A bomb site. And when this execute comes in, they're going to deal with Adren first with the UMP. He's going to spam away, miss, doing so much damage.
Jonji does clear him out. Doja's still going to stand there, and Ace hits the headshot, but the op of Hobbit yet again. That's 2 frags for him, and Mo finding VSA on the frag. Hobbit getting impact over and over.
How many kills has he got now? It's like over 30?
Yeah.
He's just farming away. Just farming away.
Should be 31, I believe.
I would be smiling if I had that many kills.
No time for smiles. This is strictly business, Sponge.
Look, it's a computer game. We're all here for the laughs. Now we're getting in a bit of a dangerous territory, right? If Rise aren't even... Sure, they got 2 kills on the entry in there. That shot by Ace, I think that must have been random, right? He mustn't have known. That was through the smoke. But Hobbit, once again, the aggression coming out from Gambit, the early map information, this just makes their life very easy. John, you're going to find a deagle headshot on Mo, but I don't expect this one to fall out of favor for Gambit.
Trent gets tagged up as well, but will then decide to walk away. Smart move.
Yeah, look where the bomb is, though. Does Hobbit know that he's crossed? I don't know if it's going to matter.
He will still find Dazzle to the backside, and then Fitch finds the bomb if they didn't already know it was there. So unfortunately, Rise Nation, while they created that 4 versus 5, had a little bit of an opportunity. It was Gambit still aggressive elsewhere that really shut things down. But Ace gets his hands on his trusty AWP. For that reason, I feel like maybe Rise Nation spend this next minute trying to find an opening pick. Ultimately, what are they going to do, though? Bomb's still in the hands of Fitch. Up close as well, really. So that Glock of VSA and the AWP of Ace, not going to be in the best of positions.
At least they got the AWP. Maybe just try and save it. I know there's a bit of time, but they're not really going to get anything done there, are they? Fitch is in a power position, going to grab those 2 kills, going to get the AWP. Maybe even just throw the AWP away. Maybe just do a little bit of BM. You're not going to hurt the economy of Gambit that much, but it feels like they're just getting to the point of closing this one out. I'm going to be... So here's the thing. We've seen them on both gun rounds go for 2 set executes. They haven't gone for any map presence. So if you're Gambit, you're going to expect them to just do a mid control here. So what you can easily throw at them is just your own mid aggression. Get a couple dudes jumping out the window, take the fight to them. Or if you know it's coming, get Hobbit aggressive on Cat again with that AWP. I would be aiming for one of those 2 things. Mo in the window, smokes will come up. They're doing exactly that. Connect a Molotov. They're going to be displaced by Mo's Molotov. And this is kind of just business as usual.
Yeah, especially now, of course, with Hobbit coming in from Catwalk. So both of the AWPs in position from Gambit. Adren on the M4 able to find the first one, but it is traded straight back. And in fact, Ace then gets the man advantage. So another position where Rise Nation have a little footing in the round. Tends to get stripped away from them at this point as well. But Mo's not going to fancy his chances towards the bottom of connector. He will reposition and just give Rise Nation a chance to make a mistake.
Yeah, his mistake. Dead. Oh, okay. Never mind. Leg shot. Got lucky there. 2 players really low HP, but Moose is going to farm and cut. This is the gap, right? He's taken advantage of knowing that there was only 1 player on the site. The new Fitch was towards B and Mo was in window. So that was a great risk there by Moose. It's going to allow the team to go on the A bomb site, but Fitch is going to spot one out. Not going to make the frag. And Ace is going to follow it up. But this is where you have to question if you're Mo. Do you go for this one? You may as well. You got money in the bank. AWP in hand. And the calls have come out that these 3 players are probably pretty low.
Yeah, 2 very incredibly low players below 20 as well. Just goes to show that Gambit could have shut this down earlier on, especially had Dazzle died in windowsill, I think.
Yeah, unlucky there. And the conversion from Fitch on Cat with the M4, he probably should have made that kill as well. But I think the way that Rise reacted after getting that getting those trades, it was quite well. They kind of just sat, they were working as a team. The Dazzle boost into window, I don't know if that's necessary, right? Because you're almost giving... He should have died. That should have been a free frag. It should have evened things up. Moose's decision to come out of Palace because he just received information from his team is a good choice. Those are the risks, those are those plays that you need to make to get map territory. So here we go. They went for mid control. Now, I would assume they will go for mid control again. Whereas what they probably should aim to do is maybe a mix-up, because this is where I talk about teams adjusting. This is where I would hope that Gambit would go for aggression in middle on their own, right? Because they know that mid-control was there. May as well throw numbers at them. You can see their buy isn't fantastic, so taking a heads-up duel is probably a good thing.
Rise Nation just going to split things out for the time being. No presence towards Palace, but at least a man on ramp, and it's of course towards the bottom of mid that we watch Hobbit reposition towards. In fact, actually passive Rise Nation, maybe expecting that kind of top mid push.
Yeah, that's good. That's great mindfulness there to actually be ready for something like that. It's good that they're not just letting the game get away from them. The problem is Hobbit's position, if overlooked, could play a big impact in this round. This is not a duel that's very favorable for Hobbit.
Of course, if the man in apps can create a distraction, then Hobbit will peek just like that, and he finds Dazzle. unsuspectingly walking down to his death. The Dren towards Connector, though, will fall, so Rise Nation back with a little bit of footing, but they've lost all that control for Apartments, so maybe this hit towards A is their immediate response, although most certainly predicted by Gambit as we see their forces rotate over. And Doja, sure enough, gets aggressive, pushes past Ticket, finding Moose on his way. And that's going to leave Rise Nation with 3 players towards Connector, trading back and forth for now, but Mo gets himself into safety for the time being.
There we go.
And he cleans it up. Jonji removed, Gambit get themselves 15. And that's Rise Nation now with a 7-point comeback to try and work with.
Bit of a slow start, really, for a couple of the guys. Like, Dren there with a bit of a whiff. There in Connector. Obviously, I don't know how... It's difficult to get completely into a match like this. I don't want to take anything away from the game, but you're in cruise control almost, and you've got Hubbard doing a lot of the work. So to get fired up, to get motivated in the opening game of the day, it's a rough one. It's a rough way to start. And Rise Nation, this is like their Super Bowl, right? This is the be-all and end-all for them.
It's wild to think that, 9 of the players in this server have between 17 and 14 kills, and then it's just Hobbit, that anomaly, at 34 right now. Like he is that kind of step above and beyond. And that's what you guys were talking about on the desk coming into this, right? Like, there is no individual comparison when it comes really to Gambit and Rise Nation. And all it takes is even just one guy to step up like this and dispatch of Rise Nation pretty quickly. But hey, they got 8 rounds versus the reigning major champions. Look,
They did a lot better than I thought they would have. I thought they would have been manhandled. They've made some good decisions. They've actually made some good frags. It's such a tall task, man. And here we've got Jonji's found a bit of room. Those are playing retake Mouse. Mo even is going to get spotted out. And it looks like they just want to hit on A. All 4 players are there. Moose is going to trade him. The bomb site, it could be cracked open.
Doja's just next to the smoke, waiting for some kind of info. Attempted bomb plant, spotted target, something. He's got Hobbit to support him as well. So while the T's will get closer to the bomb site, they've already been boxed in. Gambit knowing exactly what's going on here. And you know what, Rise Nation, they're just going to pump the brakes. Slow down. Try and dismantle the defense before they themselves get on site. But there's Hobbit's peek, traded by Moose. And this leaves both of the CTs over towards Ticket. They realize that jungle's open for the taking, and this after plant plays into that. In fact, it's actually just going to be now Moose 1v2. He's been pinched in. Hobbit peeks, tries to spray, bit of a flub, and now it's actually Moose to come in with a potential clutch. You need 4 frags on the round, and with a nice bit of movement, he gets the off angle and takes it.
There we go.
Very well played.
I think just delaying the inevitable, but a nice clutch nonetheless. Big sigh there from the Moose. Isn't it a bit of a... Look, it's like if I called myself Kangaroo.
Yeah, it is.
Why has he done that? Do you think he just like... Do you guys eat moose, don't you?
Yeah, you can have moose if you're into wild game. Do you guys eat kangaroos?
Yeah, you do. They're a pest. Kangaroos are a pest.
Look at this, Gambit. Just on pistols as well.
Yeah, but this is where the magic happens. As the Dren just slams Dazzle. Ace is going to find a bit of a frag there with the CZ, but this is just where things fall apart.
The Dren's on 2.
Oh!
Ooh, all right, VSA's got some headshots of his own. Moose as well, trying to skewer this in from Connector, and here we have it, Rise Nation double digits.
There we go. They righted the ship. What noise does a moose make?
I mean, I don't think the word moo is right for it, but I believe it has a simple.
Well, we got sound effects.
Where did that come from?
You'd love to see that. Kangaroos don't really make much of a noise. It's like, I don't know if you've seen Skippy it. That's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have assumed that they would make a noise along those lines.
Look, to be fair, when I ride the kangaroos, normally we ride them to work. They're pretty quiet. We got more. This is a comedy, isn't it? Okay, so here we go. Lack of utility right here from Gambit. So they got 2 options. This Execute's going to come in. They have to play, or they've decided to play in front of the smoke. So Dren's jumped into Sandwich, getting Molotov out. He has to peek. Go down to Jonji there, and everyone else is locked out. So this is just the waiting game for Gambit.
Rise Nation going to take this opportunity to clear out the bomb site. Still waiting to respond is the defenders here between Doja and Mo. Doja actually finding a headshot, but of course Rise Nation finding their plant. And unfortunately, they've got men just locked into the bomb site. Over towards the firebox, that'll be Jonji. Utility's pretty low from Rise Nation as well. Just the flashbangs left over, so unfortunately, can't just Molotov off the bomb. Not that there'd be a smoke to respond. It is Fitch then with the next as he pushes forward, getting himself a second kill. And while Ace is able to find one of his own, it's the tap from Fitch that forces the hand. Here comes Moose, and there he goes as well. Rise Nation have lost the round. Gambit picking it up 16-10 as that single kit of Hobbit finds impact. And speak of impact, Hobbit, what a performance.
Yeah, he had a beast of a game, but a bit of a pitch slap there coming out to put Rise Nation down, put them to bed finally. I think it was just one of those matches for Gambit, a good way to warm into the day. I think it's fantastic for a potential Na'Vi matchup to see Hobbit on fire. Rise were, you know, they didn't get blown out of the water as much as what I was expecting. So that's definitely something to hold your head up high about. And going into their next matchup, I think it'll be tomorrow, right? They don't play again today, so they get a chance to look at the way things went, kind of be like, hey, it isn't that big deal being on a stage. You know, it's just like a normal day. So this is a good learning experience for them. I definitely think that they did all right. It's
also a situation whereby we know they're guaranteed a BO3, whether that be in the losers elimination or, of course, the decider match. Who knows? And again, I think that when you look at the group, I would always chalk this up to, if they are going to win a map, if there is going to be some kind of an upset with Rise Nation, that it could be versus Heroic of anybody.
Or the unknown quantity of Na'Vi that we haven't seen in quite a while. So the fact is, 10 rounds, nothing to sneeze at. It's okay. It's okay.
Something to play with. I think that as well, there was a couple of highlightable moments from Rise Nation. Like, if we really want to kind of get into it and like pick out some things, I would say the fact that they nearly anticipated that top mid push from Gambit. That was a little bit of discipline where we had seen them just trying to shift things up, try multiple aspects, and ultimately, you know, there's something there. But
yeah, there is something there. But I think
not enough.
We have old mate Parla on stage ready with an interview, so take it away, Parla P.
Thank you, Chaddy B. I'm stood with who has to be the MVP of that game, Hobbit. Did you expect a performance like that out of yourself?
Actually, no, because I didn't prepare for this game and I didn't practice, I didn't training. I just did some relax at my home with my wife and that's it.
Yeah. Talking about preparation, I spoke to Pimp backstage, and he said for an established team like yours, often it's better to not overthink underdog teams. Do you agree?
Yeah, actually, yeah. It's actually every time like that, so.
Yeah, so is that a case of you can't study them, you don't have as much information? Why does it play out like that?
Actually, Andy just did some work and told for us some strategies, and that's it.
Okay, cool. And so, going into this competition, you have some tough competition ahead of you. Who do you think your potential biggest rivals could be?
I don't know. It's a hard question. Actually, I wanna beat Na'Vi, but in the best of 3 series, not best of 1. And I think Heroic and the Envy is very good teams.
I did want to touch upon Na'Vi, of course. Both of your teams have a kind of history. The opportunity to play them, does it mean a lot to you and your team?
Actually, yes, it means a lot for us. We should win. We didn't prepare, but we hope we can do it.
Yeah, well, only time will tell. Hobbit, right now, are you guys satisfied with the year so far? Because it's coming to a close, and I think it's been a pretty good year for Gambit.
Yes, it's amazing year for us.
Yeah, because of course, being major winners now, you want to close out with a bang. Do you feel your chances here at DreamHack Astro Open Winter 2017 are strong?
Yeah, thank you very much. We just will try our best and we try to win. That's it.
All right, well, Abe, best of luck. You can now head back to your team. Thank you for the chat. All right, now let's head back to the desk and take a little deeper look into that matchup.
A little